Every operator have lived this. You plan an initiative carefully, the analysis is sound, the business case is solid, and somehow it still stalls after launch. A team you didn't think to loop in start dragging its feet. Legal raises a flag at exactly the wrong moment. And the story gets away from you before you finish explaining it. Underneath all of this is the same gap. The people whose interest the initiative was going to touch were never mapped, and they showed up anyway. There's a fix to this, a stakeholders map that surfaces who will endorse your initiative and who has the reasons to push back on it. This video shows you how to develop the map, and I'll walk you through 3 applied scenarios across operations, supply chain, and regulatory work. There are also 3 failure modes you need to watch out for when you're doing this type of mapping. And from this video, you'll come away with 2 downloadable tools, an Excel template you can fill in by hand, or an AI-ready prompt that runs in any large language model like ChatGPT, Claude, Copilot, or Gemini. Both links are in the description. First, what we mean by stakeholders map is the full list of everyone your initiative will touch. And for each one, whether they are positioned to block it or back it. That's the part most planning skips, and skipping it is usually what stalls the initiative further. Someone who could have supported it never got brought along, or someone whose interests run against it stays off the radar entirely. Here are the 5 questions that build a map at the heart of the Impact Architecture Framework. Run your next initiative through them and the gap shows up fast. Number 1, who can withhold legitimacy from this, even if they can formally block it? Number 2, who does your target audience value beyond your brief? 3, when someone visible happens, whose expert opinion becomes the public's opinion? 4, who's going to amplify, whether you involve them or not? And 5, who shapes the story after the announcement settles? Those questions put your stakeholders into 5 audiences. Your target audience, read in full, Silent-Veto experts, adjacent audiences, coalition observers, and leadership and investors. Silent-Veto audience is the one to remember, and it comes into 2 flavors. The first is the factual judgment audiences, like scientists, legal, compliance, IT. Their call on what's true becomes public. The second is operational dependency audiences, the employees, downstream systems, or the contract counterparties who don't formally block but quietly hold the work out. Either way, they can withhold legitimacy without ever formally vetoing you, and they're often what shapes how the initiatives actually plays out once you ship. If the 5 audience map is new to you, the Arcterra's business case video introduces it, and why missing one box have real consequences after launch. The rest of the video is about running these 5 questions on the initiatives on your desk. You can run this in 2 ways, offline in Excel template or with a downloadable AI prompt. The Excel template gives you 5 rows, 1 for each audience category, and each row has 3 columns to fill in. The first column is who specifically, the names, the groups, the teams. The second is why they matter for this initiative. And the third is what you actually know about them versus what you're just assuming. With a notepad on the side and the spreadsheet open, you fill the gaps as you write. The prompt is a portable markdown file. You can paste it or install it into Claude, ChatGPT, Copilot, etc. It asks you a few short questions about what you're shipping, who you briefed, and what you might be missing. And 10 minutes later, you will have a populated map with the gaps already flagged. For your first time, I would run the Excel by hand. You really feel where the framework is doing its work. After that, the prompt is faster and it works better once you internalize the questions on paper first. Let me run the framework on 3 different kinds of initiatives, 30 seconds each, so you can see what changes across scenarios and what doesn't. Scenario 1 is a product transfer between 2 manufacturing sites. The target audience is the team running the transfer. Your Silent-Veto experts here are labor, compliance, and legal, whose call on what's allowed in a transfer becomes a hard constraint on the plan. The source-side workforce is your adjacent audience inside the org. Their job and size are on the line. They're watching every step and they will react. The rest of the manufacturing also watches from the side, quietly wondering whether they're the next. The coalition is a union if there's one, plus trade press if you're a visible company. And the leadership shows up at the monthly governance review if the transfer drags on or the productivity slips at the source site. Those are the financial and business impact questions leadership will be asking about. Scenario 2 is a product labeling change to support registering your product in a new local market. A labeling change looks like regulatory paperwork, but it ripples straight into master data, manufacturing, and supply chain. New labels often means new SKUs for planning, new labeling workflow, and an increase in inventory working capital to manage. The target audience is the operations team running the rollout. The Silent-Veto experts here are easy to miss. Regulatory and quality are formal approvers, so they are already in the loop. The real Silent-Veto are the downstream owners of the systems the label actually gets integrated into. The product software team whose UI or scanner reads it. Skip them, and the rollout drags by weeks while the software team scrambles to make the new label fit in a framework that wasn't built for it. The customer service team fielding label questions and sales expecting new SKUs, they are your adjacent audience. The coalition is the regulatory authorities in other markets who will notice the differences in your label and may have questions. And the leadership shows up as a commercial team. They are carrying revenue targets for the new market. And every week of labeling rollout delay, it's a week of missed sales, and they have to explain. They won't slow you down on paper, but they will be the loudest voice asking why it isn't done yet. Scenario 3, it's a sustainability initiative that require new contract terms with your suppliers, plus auditing work to verify compliance. This reaches far past an ESG announcement. Your procurement team has to renegotiate every relevant contract, build new audit protocols, possibly replace suppliers who can't meet their standard. Let me linger on the Silent-Veto experts here, because this scenario has wrinkled the other stone. Your suppliers themselves are Silent-Veto in this scenario. They are across table from you in the contract negotiation. They have real power on the timing and shape the rollout. They can slow roll withhold cooperation or comply selectively. And unlike most Silent-Veto audiences, these ones are in the room with you from day one. The usual Silent-Veto audience only shows up once the consequence is already affecting the initiative, whether that's a delay, a missed milestone, or a quiet failure. So the question isn't whether to push them through or partner with them. It's how to build their reality into your rollout plan from the start. What they can actually deliver on the timing with what constraints. The alternative is writing the plan first and finding out later where it breaks. The rest of the map fills in fast. The target audience is a supply chain team doing the work. Finance is adjacent because there's a cost implication, along with product teams whose spec makes shift. The coalition is ESG analysts, trade press, customer is reading your sustainability claims, and leadership is your board's ESG committee. 3 different initiatives, same 5 categories. What changes is who goes into each box. When strategic operators first try to run this, 3 things go wrong reliably. Failure mode number 1 is listing roles instead of names. HR isn't an audience. The chief people officer, your HR business partner, and the head of compensation are the 3 different audiences with 3 different states. So name them specifically. Failure mode number 2 is stopping at the org chart. The org chart only covers your first 2 audience categories. If your stakeholder list maps one-to-one to your formal approval chain, you miss your Silent-Veto experts, your coalition observers, and probably your real adjacent audiences too. Failure mode number 3 is the most expensive. Reading your target audience only through the slides your initiative is built around. Take a supply chain team about to run a new sustainability protocol. They care about contract terms, of course, but they also care about whether this signals more compliance work coming, whether their workload assumptions still hold, and whether the new audit cycle eats into the delivery commitments. If your slide deck addresses only the contract terms, those other dimensions are what end up writing the objection narrative. Here's what I asked you to do. Pick the next initiatives on your desk. Take 20 minutes with it. Run the diagnostics, either the Excel file by hand or the prompt in the AI chat, and pay attention to which row took the longest to fill in. That row is usually where your gap is. The work is small. The downside of skipping it isn't. Both form of the tools are in the description. Take them into your next planning meeting.